New Thought Media Network. We are inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, hello. Hi there out there in Facebook, YouTube land. So are you tuned into your intuition? That's the question for today. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about, is our intuition and how that plays out in your life. So welcome to New Thought Media Network. And I am Reverend Lisa Williams, and I am an ordained minister. I'm a spiritual coach, a wedding officiant, and a speaker. So I am here to share some information with you. I'm here to talk with you a little bit about your inner dazzle. Of course, that's what the line says. So that's what we're here to talk about. So what is an inner dazzle? What is your inner dazzle? So the inner dazzle is that part of you that is your innermost sacred part that is truly connected to love, to peace, to joy, to happiness, to being connected to your inner source. It is that, what else is it? It's expressing authenticity and finding purpose and joy in your life. That is your inner dazzle. So that is what we're here to talk about, is how we connect to that inner dazzle, because once we connect to that inner dazzle, we can then move about in a way that our life is more happy, productive, all the wonderful things that we desire and that we want in our lives. That's what we're here to do when we connect with our inner dazzle. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here on New Thought Media Network. We're so glad to have you here. So the question for you is, are you tuned into your intuition? That's the question. And it's something that I think for a lot of us, we feel like we just naturally have that intuition. And so we just use it and we work with it. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about really discovering more about your intuition and how it works in your life, or how it might be not working in your life. Has there ever been a time when you thought to yourself, oh my gosh, I really should have listened to my gut? You know, that inner part of you that really knows what's going on. When is the last time when something went wrong and you realized that you didn't listen to your intuition? It's definitely something that we need to be aware of. I was thinking back of a time, or many times, when I wasn't listening to my intuition. And one of them, I had run into a friend at the store. And so her and I, usually we chat up a storm and talk and visit. And, it was just really weird, because when I first saw her, I don't know, something inside me was like, something's off today, and as we talked, I realized that she just wasn't her normal self. And then off she went, and I didn't really get to talk to her for as long as I normally would have. So I thought to myself, well, that's really weird. And of course, the first thing I did was my inner judgment came out, and I thought, well, what did you do to her? Why is she upset at you? You must have done something. So that inner doubt and that inner lack of using your intuition steps up sometimes, and it clouds our judgment. And so that's something we need to definitely be aware of. Sometimes it's hard to define, but it's definitely a thought when I knew, something just wasn't right there, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. That's that feeling of using your intuition or not using your intuition. Maybe overthinking it, which is what I did. So what happens is that we mislead ourselves with our insecurities and our judgments. And we are going to learn a little bit more about that in just a couple of minutes. We're going to learn more about how our judgments affect us, our own judgments. Have you ever felt that way? Have you noticed a time when you've experienced that in your life? When maybe that you should have listened to your gut, but you didn't? I always appreciate when you guys leave information in the chat if you want. Oh, my goodness, excuse me. I didn't expect that. Oh my gosh. So the question is, what is intuition? What is intuition when we really think about what it is? Intuition is that feeling in your gut when you instinctively know that something is either right or wrong. And when we use our intuition, we need to use our intuition during our decision making. So obviously decision making happens all the time. We're making decisions from the moment we wake up to the time we go to bed. So it's definitely something to learn to be in tune with. Intuitive decision making. So when we use our intuition, when we make decisions, we definitely have a better outcome. So I really suggest and hoping that everybody is open to using intuitive decision making. So based on our past experiences, it can be something that we're familiar with, and it can be successful when we make these choices in similar situations that we're familiar with. But for current or future situations, we must use more caution when using our intuition. We must tap into that intuition and use caution. So what I've learned to do over time is by using caution, by using my intuition with caution, it comes up in a way, I guess an example would be somebody calls you and they want you to go out, or they want you to do something, or they want you to take care of something for them. And usually a lot of times our first response is just to jump and just say, sure, I'll do it, and then later we think to ourselves, oh, I didn't really want to do that. Why did I do that? Why did I choose that? Now I have to spend my time doing something I don't want to do. And it's just a frustrating feeling, because it's like we're not valuing ourselves, we're not valuing our time. So what I've discovered is that you must pause, and even with maybe a difficult situation, I think I'm finally learning that I have to even take the 24-hour period where I just say, you know what, let me get back to you. If it's not a time sensitive thing, you can say, hey, I'll call you back tomorrow or later this afternoon. I got stuff going on. And just, even if you don't, you can just say, hey, I just need a little time to think about this, and I'll get back to you. So that's the way we do it, is that you want to pause, take time to think about, and really tune in, tap into yourself, tap into that inner intuition, and ask yourself if that's something that you really want to do. So that's the way we value ourselves and we value our time. So the question is, do you want to develop your intuition? Do you want to develop your intuition? Well, we're here to do that today, and I have 5 steps for you to help you develop your intuition, because I think it's really important to recognize when that intuition is talking, because it's really something, it's our inner voice, it's our inner self that is guiding us through our life. It's guiding us all the time in everything that we do, in all of our decisions, everywhere we go. That intuition is with us, and it is guiding us. A lot of people call it our inner voice, our inner self, our inner guide. Some people think it's led really through a divine information that's coming through you. If you just be open to it, you can see what it is for you. So how to connect to your inner intuition. So I have a quote for you. So this quote is by Ellen Gilbert. And Ellen Gilbert says, intuition, without a doubt, is our biggest resource on the path to finding meaningful joy, self-expression, self-compassion in our lives. It is a skill to be sharpened and a muscle to be strengthened. And that is by Ellen Gilbert. So I got some really great information from her about learning how to tap into our intuition. That's what we're here to do today. So you're welcome to, I'm going to post up here in a few minutes, or actually Robert's going to post those for me, my producer. I have 5 steps, 5 tips for you on how to connect and tap into your inner intuition. So you can do a screenshot if you want, or you can write these 5 tips down, because they're definitely a really great way to begin to connect to your intuition. So the 5 steps. So number one in connecting to your intuition is to create a safe space. How do we create a safe space? Well, as you know, some of you might know, we have been talking about that over the last 2 weeks here on Inner Dazzle. We've talked about creating a sacred space in your home, and a sacred and a safe space would be a place. For me, it is a chair in my living room. I have a chair, and I have some beautiful things that I've set up. I have a picture of my daughter. I have some beautiful murals that are hanging up. I have some wonderful little, like knick-knack type things. I have, like this is one of them. I have this, and it's nice because you can hold it, rub it. It's like a worry stone. It's great to put your energy into there, and it clears your energy. There's lots of wonderful things ways that you can create sacred space in your home. So that's what we talked about the last couple of weeks. So yeah, it's about creating that sacred space, a safe space. And when you create that safe space, then what happens? That is a safe space for you to begin self-care, to begin to become self-aware of your intuition and how it operates in your life. It's definitely something you need to do. Mindfully connect that part of yourself that wants to take care of yourself and let it flourish from there. I love that. Mindfully connect that part of yourself that wants to take care of yourself and let it flourish from there. I thought that was great because it's something that we don't a lot of times take the time to do, is really to think about ourselves and think about how can we nurture ourselves? How do we self-care? We're always taking care of everybody else. At least a lot of us do. A lot of us that are moms, I find that definitely is something that happens out there. Let's see. So number two of the 5 steps to connecting to your intuition is creating a safe space. Creating a safe space, number 1. And number 2, awaken to your inner self. Awaken to your inner self. So do you connect with the voice of fear, or do we connect with the voice of knowingness? That's the question. Do you feel like you're always just jumping right into that part of you that is in doubt and fear and frustration and irritation? And a lot of times when we just go right into that voice and we tune into that voice, what do we find? We find that a lot of things that are happening in our lives we don't like. There are situations and experiences that are not fun, things that aren't not good in your life. So this whole experience, this whole time today, is when we talk about tapping into our intuition, is really about creating a new mindset in your mind. And when you create that new mindset, it brings you joy, it brings you happiness, it brings you connection, it brings you guidance to make better choices in your life. We can all use more of that, right? I think that's definitely something important to do. So number 2, awaken to your inner self. Do you go by the voice of intuition or the voice of fear? So one exercise that I have that really helps that, and I do this often, like if I'm feeling frazzled or like my day is just going stressful and I'm feeling like things are too much, I just put my hand on my heart and my other hand, and see on my belly, and connect. And you just stop what you're doing, stop what you're doing, take a minute and do it with me now if you want. Just put your hand on your heart and your hand on your belly. Close your eyes and just take a deep breath. Breathe in. And then you ask yourself, ask your intuitive self, okay, well, if I did know what I was going to do, what would I do? I'm asking my intuition. I ask my inner self, what is the next step for me? What is the next thing for me to do to be connected to my intuition that can guide me in the direction that I need to go? That is one really great exercise. It's simple and little, but it works and it's really powerful. And definitely the deep breathing. I think I always do a lot of the breath work. And if you see me on my on the prayer, I'm on the prayer team here at New Thought Media Network. So I do the prayers, morning prayers, evening prayers, 8:15, 8:30 Mountain Time. We are here. So when I do those prayers, a lot of times I have everybody start with breath. We start with the breath. Because the breathing is clearing, and it's allowing yourself space to connect with that intuition. That's what the breath work does. It allows us to connect to that intuition within us. So let's see. You can also do yoga. Yoga is a great practice to tapping into your intuition or your inner self. Lots of great ways to connect. Okay, so number 3. We're on to number 3. Number 3. Can't see. So number 3 is practicing mindfulness. We're going to practice mindfulness. So when we connect to our intuition, we are going to practice mindfulness. So what does that mean? What does mindfulness mean to you? Mindfulness is being aware of our thoughts. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing. The more aware we are about our thoughts, the easier it is to connect to your intuition, because what we do every day and all the choices that we make, every thought that we have throughout the day definitely makes a difference in our life. And if we take the time to become aware of our thoughts and be mindful of the thoughts and the things that we are thinking to ourselves, that we're thinking and saying to others, that can make a huge difference in the way that our day unfolds. If you want more ease and grace and love and happiness in your life, become mindful of your thoughts. Awareness of your thoughts. And also realize that our thoughts are not us. I was reading an article and she was talking about realizing that our thoughts are not us. So just because your thought tells you, well, you're just an idiot. Well, that doesn't mean you're an idiot. It just means that's just a thought and you can change it. It's a belief and I can change it. That's what I say when I hear that. It's a belief, but I can change that. There's no reason to put yourself down and say bad things to yourself or anybody else as far as that goes. Because what happens is that the ego tries to keep us safe and familiar. So when the ego works on us, it's thinking that it's protecting us, but it's really not. And so what happens is that ego gets in the way. And a term we use in New Thought is edging God out. So if you edge God out, then you are not allowing that divine energy to flow through your being, flow through your mind. So we are not able to connect to our inner self or our higher self when we edge God out. So that is our ego. Our ego just wants to be in control and take care of everything. It thinks that we're safe, but we're not. A lot of times the thoughts that the ego have are very detrimental and not good for our mind. So create awareness of your thoughts and allow that to guide you in your day. The other thing I like on that was to be the observer. Something I've learned over the years is instead of just jumping in on things or on situations or something that might be going on in your life or, a comment or something that somebody said to you, instead of just jumping in on it, if you're feeling defensive or frustrated, step back, be the observer. That's the other piece. Be the observer. So the idea of connecting to your intuition is to become the observer in your life and notice of things that are going on around you. Notice it and just be aware and become the observer. The next one, number 4. Number 4 is notice your critic. So does your inner critic cause you doubt? Does your inner critic doubt yourself? That's definitely something that I think a lot of us are maybe not aware of, is that inner critic that is within us that is always putting us down and causing doubt in our life and doubt in our decisions. So that's something about that, creating that mindfulness about our thoughts. Begin to be aware of your thoughts and what you're thinking and what that inner critic is saying to you. So one way that you can do it is by being aware of your inner critic. So the next time you hear that familiar voice, that inner critic, stop and notice it. Just be noticing it. And maybe even talk back to it. I think it's an interesting concept. I read about this. They said, just stop, be aware of your inner critic and talk to it. Ask it, what would you say? What would I say? I would ask it, well, what is it that you want? What are you doing right now? Why are you putting me down? Why do I feel so irritated and frustrated right now? What does your inner critic really want? That's the question. What does your inner critic really want deep down? What does it need? That's what we need to ask it. And a lot of times if you take the time to be that observer and come from an aware position, you will tune into and tap into those energies that will give you answers to what it is you're looking for. And then when we have those answers, from there, we can move forward in doing much better in our thoughts and our actions. Okay, number 5, we're wrapping it up here. Number 5 is to practice non-judgment. Are you guys familiar with this? Practicing non-judgment? Non-judgment is insulating ourselves from our feelings of not enoughness. It is the primary function of judgment. So definitely that is something to be aware of, because I think a lot of times we don't even pay attention to the fact that we're judging ourselves and others. So this just, it's like a domino effect. So when you notice your awareness, like from your inner critic, you begin to shift your thoughts, change your thinking, change your mindset, and then begin to practice non-judgment, because that experience of judging ourselves and others is not good for us, right? It doesn't do anything good. So I have a beautiful, and it is from Gabby Bernstein, and it's a long quote, but I definitely, let me see. Let me move that out of the way. Let's see. The quote is by Gabby. Oh yeah, where is that quote? Okay, there we go. So this quote, it's a big one. Judgment is the #1 reason that we feel blocked, sad, or alone. Our pop culture and media place enormous value on social status, looks, racial and religious separation, and material wealth. We are made to feel less than, separate, and not good enough. So we use judgment to insulate ourselves from the pain of feeling inadequate, insecure, or unworthy. It is easier to make fun of or write off or judge someone for perceived weakness of others, of theirs, rather than examine it to our own sense of lack. That is by Gabby Bernstein, and she has a book, so I'm recommending a book for you. The book is by Gabby Bernstein, Bernstein, and her book is called Judgment Detox. So if you want to experience a much bigger release of our judging yourself and others, definitely check out her book. It'll be a good one. So we need to begin to practice non-judgment to ourselves and to others, because it doesn't really have any good outcome for us. So the outcome, though, of all of these wonderful tips, if you'll notice, being able to be in touch with our intuition and connect to the intuition is definitely a step in the right direction as far as becoming a more spiritually aware person. And as we begin to step into all of these beautiful spiritual practices, that is creating new awareness. It is creating a new mindset. And it really does work in our neurotransmitters in our brain. It really affects them, and it can shift the way that we think, who we are, what we do, how our life unfolds, the way that we experience life. If you want to experience more joy and peace and happiness and love, more prosperity, more abundance, then all of these beautiful qualities are something that you should be considering when you think about connecting to your intuition. So that is what, let's see, there's one more little thing I want to read. So the outcome is, so when we are taking care of ourselves and cultivating self-compassion, the genuine heart for the world emerges and expands. So we no longer live in a delusion of separation. And that is such a key factor, because especially right now going on in the world, all the things going on in the world, what we can do more of is experience and express compassion and love to ourselves and to others. And we can do that by tapping into our intuition and listening to that inner guidance as we make choices in our day and begin to experience a much better and wonderful experience as this human being that we are. So how are you going to nurture your intuition? That's my question for you. How are you going to nurture your intuition? I want you to think about that. You can journal on that. That's definitely something to consider. Okay, so as we come toward the end here, so I would like to just ask you if you are looking for support or you need someone to talk to about this kind of stuff, I'm here for you. So just know that you can reach out to me, and I have my Facebook page, and it is Spiritual Resource. You can connect with me there. It's on my Reverend Lisa page, Reverend Lisa Williams, Lisa A. Williams Facebook page. I also have my email, and that is lisa@innerdazzle.com. Reach out to me. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. So I do a free half-hour session. Sorry, lisa@innerdazzle.com. So you can find me there. The other thing I want you to do right when we leave here, I want you to go over to YouTube, and I want you to subscribe to Inner Dazzle LLC. That is my YouTube channel. Definitely go in there and subscribe to that, because I have on there all of my talks, all of my prayers. When I do the prayers on the prayer team, you'll get to hear those. And I also have a 1-minute pause, which is really powerful. It's a great way to begin to create that awareness in your mind by taking 1 minute to take a pause and take a breath and focus on that inner truth and that inner you. Also, I want you to go, while you're in YouTube, go to New Thought Media Network, and I want you to subscribe to them as well. We have just an amazing group of people. It's just expanding every day. There's some beautiful programs there, and there's definitely many programs there to help you grow spiritually, and we are all here to love and support you. So connect with us there, and we will look forward to seeing you soon. Just know that our time together is definitely a celebration of your personal empowerment. And I always like to say, leave them dazzled by your presence. Thank you for being here with me today, and have a blessed rest of your day. Bye. See you later.